Welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JM International. Get ready to explore conversations with those making a difference through music.
Hello and welcome to the Power of Music podcast, brought to you by JMI, Jeunesse Musicale International, the global network of NGOs that empowers young people through music across all boundaries. In this episode, we talk about switching from a corporate job to music and the adventure that comes from that. We dive into corruption in Nigeria, artistic censorship, and shifting the minds of the young generation. We discuss the way music can relax people, how it can help turning Playboys into good men, and of course, the power of music. My name is Ricardo, and today I'm joined by Cill, also known as Cill. She's a singer-songwriter who uses storytelling for social change. She worked together with Music for Democracy Network. She's the 2019 Accountability Music Award winner and Fair Play Ambassador. Fair Play, an initiative of JMI and Transparency International, is a global platform for young artists to express themselves through music and the arts, to connect with global change makers fighting corruption and amplify the messages. As always, if you enjoy our content, don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate the podcast. We hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you so much for joining us today on the podcast. First, what has been your journey into music?
That's a very long story, but I'll try to compress it. My journey started in 2017. I used to work in a corporate environment and I got very restless. I got to a point where I realized that if I didn't do music, I would be very, 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 very sad. And I didn't want that. And I quit the job and did music professionally. Before then, I've always loved music. I studied law. When I was in university, I got a guitar. And I remember my mom asking me why I got a guitar. And I just told her that it was part of my curriculum. Of course, not my school curriculum, my personal life curriculum. I wanted to learn an instrument that was easy to carry around. A guitar was easy compared to a piano, for example. And if you live in Nigeria or in Africa and regions that have that low infrastructure, you would realize that was a good idea because of lack of electricity and all of that. So it was easy to just get a guitar, play. And also I think another thing that influenced that was the environment I was in school had a lot of guitarists. They were mostly guys, and I just liked the fact that the guitar brought people together. You just bring it out and people just wanted to sing, whether they had nice voices or not. So fast forward, went through university, went to law school, did all of that. But music kept calling and I answered in summary. There's more, but that's a summary.
You can share more.
Oh, okay. So when I was a child, I remember my first encounter with music ever. I think I was probably 3 or 4. I was in kindergarten and I remember we used to have this cute music teacher. I wasn't old enough to take the class, but one day I was walking past the music class and the door was a bit ajar. I heard the music from the music class. I just walked in. I saw the music teacher on the grand piano playing this. It was a Christian song that I remember till date. I remembered the lyrics. And I was so drawn in that moment, and I don't know why. I was just eager to know what it was about, and I think I left without him noticing. But that moment was very powerful for me, and maybe that is the reason why I'm very drawn to soft music, and the kind of music I make is easy, and I always want to connect with people and connect to the soul of people, and just have a very sweet message. I also remember that my dad would play a lot of country music. My dad is very traditional. He's Igbo, but for some reason he liked country music from musicians like Jimmy Reeves, Christy Lane, and then I just don't know why he liked those music. But I really, really, really enjoyed waking up to those tunes, every morning. It was good. And I think that kind of influenced my music because like I like the guitar and all of that. And growing up, I had this little recorder where I record radio song, like songs of the radio, just so I can learn it again. And I would like be making videos, mimicking like acting as though I'm a star in a music video, but like I didn't think all of that was anything serious. So I guess I distracted myself and did what was expected of me, which was go to school, which is important by the way. But like I I think that I should have taken music more seriously, like earlier. But I'm glad that I did eventually.
So switching from a corporate job to music,
Mhm.
have you ever looked back?
Mm. To be honest, I do, but it's not in a bad way. Not like, oh, I wish I stayed longer. No, it's more like, oh, that was a good life, right? I had great experiences from that life, and that is that. So it's more of looking back and say, oh, wow, I have lived different lives, and I think I prefer this one by far.
Why? What makes it so preferable?
Why? I think it's the adventure. I used to always think that I liked structure and predictability, Maybe the fact that I studied law made me feel that I liked structure because like in law school you had to wear white and black, you had to like follow the rules. There were so many rules, especially in the university that I went to. And for some reason I was a good student. I followed everything. But I didn't realize I was just like following a script until I left that structure. I realized that it wasn't until I left the structure that I realized that I really like adventure. I like the fact that I wake up in the morning and I'm like, okay, what's next? What are we doing today? I really do like it. And it's weird that people think it's weird, but I really do like it. I think that's what I like most.
For the people that, for whatever strange reason, have not listened to your music yet,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, we advise them all to listen to it.
Yeah.
Not now, first finish this episode. You already said it's soft and sweet, but can you describe a bit more about the music and the message? And
It's very, I wouldn't say, it's hard to put it in a category in terms of what the genre is. People would say it is folk. Some people would say it is Afrofusion, alternative. I like to call my music soul because it is like an extension of me. So I like to bring people into my world, my experiences, the things that are important to me, my values through my music. So I'll just say, um, because one of the core of my person is giving back. So every time I learn something new, I want to share. And I'm not exactly very good in communicating in words. So, but I'm good in communicating lyrics and music. So that's like my, like, what do you call it? Like when you're, that's like the way that I pass my message through my music. And, it's mostly guitar based, but like lately I have been experimenting with a lot of African sounds. And so you would find African sounds like Afrobeats a little bit, not deeply, but like a little bit. So it's like, that's my music in a nutshell.
do you feel that your law degree somehow influenced your music or the way you approach music?
I think so because they would say that the legal profession is a very conservative one. So I'd say that my music is very, very conservative. Like in the way that I would communicate stuff, I would be very conscious of the younger generation. For example, I'll be very conscious of the fact that there are people who look up to me. So it will be very, very conservative, very, very inspiring, very, very let's be nice, let's be good people, let's be orderly, stuff like that. I think that that comes from my legal background. I think that defines a lot of things that I do and my approach to my music, and also the part of advocacy, using my music for social change and social justice.
So we're here in Vilnius, Lithuania, for the International Anti-Corruption Conference.
Yeah.
For Fair Play, can you share a bit about what Fair Play has meant to you and what your music does in the fight against corruption?
That's a good question. I came across Fair Play, I think in 2020. I believe that a link to the Fair Play competition was shared on the WhatsApp group that I was part of. And I just checked it out. I read the call and it resonated with me. At the time, I had a song that I had released called Sound the Alarm, which was a song that was a wake-up call to Nigerians, because at the time, we had a lot of apathy and people were just like not interested in participating or even like calling government to account or calling out corruption. Everybody was just like trying to live their lives like in peace. But I wanted to like put out a song that would like stir things up a bit. And so I put out Sound the Alarm, and I thought it was a perfect fit for the Fair Play competition. And then I sent it in and voila, I was accepted. And I think before this time, I didn't have there were not many opportunities like that for me, like to like get my voice heard. I actually felt a certain kind of stigma doing the kind of music before then. So it was kind of like a validating moment that there was this organization far away from me, many miles away, that was interested in this kind of music and would encourage me, So it was a very like encouraging moment for me. So I jumped on it, and when I was accepted, I was so excited. I think we were supposed to be in South Korea that year, but like it didn't happen because of COVID, thanks to COVID. So everything was virtual, did the virtual performances. I was still a bit skeptical, like, who are these people? Are they real? Why are they interested? Why are they trying to help? And it's been 4 years now, and this is the first time I'm meeting the team, and I am actually blown by the fact that they really do care. Like, the fact that they really do care is not just a matter of trying to like push a project. They really do care for us, the artists that are like part of the ambassador, and they want to see us progress like through the trainings, and it's just so good.
And we talked a bit also on the panel about what corruption actually means, especially in different contexts. Can you share a bit about what that means within your context, within Nigeria?
It's a very heavy conversation because I see corruption as a cancer that eats into the society slowly, and then one day it's almost like it gets to a point where it's almost irreparable, right? So in my context, it comes from lack of accountability from the leaders, the people that we elected, and also the fact that there is almost like there's so much effort put into like shutting the voices of young people. Like, it's like an investment for them, and so seeing that is so scary, because you're also told that you're the leader. You're a leader you're the leaders of tomorrow, right? And at the same time, you don't have a voice. So like, corruption has so eaten so deep in our system and our society that young people just like want to leave the country. Like, they're just like, you know what, it seems like if you talk about it, you might get killed. If you become too vocal and fight too much, you might not have the future that you are looking forward to. So that's like what exists now in my community.
And do you remember the first time where you realized that your music can actually do something about that, or can play a role in fighting that, or in giving a voice to young people?
Yes, it's happened a couple of times. I remember a conversation I had with a friend who had called me after hearing a song that I released, and it's quite funny that I had written a song that was just a personal experience, and I put it out. And it was a song that had to do with it was a song about a relationship that I had gone through, where it was one-sided, and this person didn't have any intentions to commit or like to be there, right? But was the person was leading me on, and I felt like a lot of young people had that experience. And it's quite unrelated, but like when this person called me, he told me he had been listening to the song the whole day, and he had taken his time to make calls to about, I think he had a list of about 22 ladies that he had done that with. And he said he had just got off the call with the 18th person, and he just wanted to call me to tell me what was going on, and that he didn't just want to like do that without letting the singer know. So he called me on Instagram, and he was just telling me that he didn't know that this was a huge problem until he heard the song. And it was almost like he connected with the pain that I was going through. And in that moment, I realized how powerful just a song can be, right? I know someone who also tells me that every song I've released is almost like I'm in their life and experiencing what they're experiencing. And it's almost like I know what they're going through, right? So these moments make me realize that songs have the ability to make people think and like internalize issues and actually take actions that will impact things both for them and around them. So the song I released in 2019, for example, All You've Got, was from a training that I underwent on what governance was. And essentially it was a very simple thing that I never heard before about good governance, and the fact that it wasn't just about elected officials, it was about everyone. That's what democracy is about. People in civil society, citizens, politicians, political parties, the media, every single person has a part to play in what good governance should be. And putting out that song, I didn't realize, to me, it was just a simple message that I learned, and I just wanted to like put it in a song. At least that's what I thought. But the way that it was received, and people saying, "Oh my God, this song is so deep." Like from the first line, it's in pidgin, permit me. The first line is, "I no need to be president to be part of my government." In English, it means I don't have to be the president to be a part of the government. And that line is because it's the opening line of the song. Every person that hears it just says, "Oh wow, like I didn't realize that it's not the number one person. It's not just the president or the governor or the person that we think is high up there that makes the decision. I also have a part to play." For me, that was like a very powerful moment, and I'm happy to do that again and again.
You also mentioned that the government is actively trying to shut down the voices of young people. Is that something you've experienced yourself as well within your music, or is it something that you take into consideration when you make music? Because of course, there's also the very sad reality that there's a lot of artist censorship, and nowadays especially a lot of self-censorship, where artists don't want to risk too much or maybe not say certain things that they want to say. Can you share a bit about that, please?
Yeah, I'll go straight to the NSAS movement that happened in October 2020. And it was a movement that was speaking up against police brutality, which is a very prevalent thing in Nigeria. It's like every time I approach a police checkpoint, I'm always scared because anything could go wrong. It's really that bad. And so the young people decided that it was like enough is enough. And we decided to go on a mass protest, which started very organically. There was no leader. There was no figurehead. It was just everybody angry at the same time on the streets. And it was a protest that lasted for weeks. And I remember being on the protest grounds a few times and just feeling like, oh my God, finally we have the power, we have the voice. Somebody will listen to us, In that moment, you think that that's what was happening. But unfortunately, we got to the end of the protest, it wasn't even a protest that ended because we reached an amicable settlement. It was because the military got involved and a lot of people were killed. Till date, there was nobody took any responsibility for that event. And even though the venue which we used is no longer open, I guess that was their way of compensating us. What we really wanted were answers, and that wasn't, given to us. It's a very scary situation, because knowing that even the people who are there to protect you can take your life is very scary. And personally, as a musician, when we talk about self-censoring, I think for me, I'm always going to be looking for a balance between speaking the truth, right? Having a voice, and losing my voice. You don't want to have the voice so much and then lose the voice, and then it's almost counterproductive. So I would always try to have the message in my music. It's something that I am determined to doing every time. But at the same time, there's that fear, there's that fear, because you're faced with these events every now and then. The government one time shut down Twitter completely, and even now there's some form of censoring. You talk too much, they'll pick you up in your house. You get missing for days. It happens every other day. You can get missing for a year. Nobody will be able to fight for you. So it's a scary situation that I have seen, and I have sort of experienced with the protests, with the everyday experiences with police brutality. I have been stopped a couple of times, not as a musician, just as a young person. And that's something that every young person is scared of, living in Nigeria.
I know that some of the Fair Play ambassadors, for example, Fate, has also shared that being able to connect with other ambassadors and kind of sharing stories about how you deal with certain situations, or to kind of remain hopeful, has helped him. Mm-hmm. Is this something you've experienced as well? And how has it been meeting the ambassadors here and sharing some stories?
Oh yeah, I remember I was speaking with Faith, and I asked him if they had a similar situation with the police in their country, and he was shocked. He was so shocked to find out that you couldn't, you could just be arrested. They wouldn't tell you why, right? There's no the process of arrest is always tainted with some form of imbalance of power, where the police is gonna just say, "Come, I'm taking you," and you're like, "What did I do?" You're you will know when you get to the station. That's if you ever come out. So I mean, it's a different experience, but what I took from the conversation with him was just the understanding that we have similar, situations, but just the dynamics tend to be different, and the fact that he's also from an African country, I think, one of the things he asked me yesterday, which I couldn't really answer, was, "Are you guys not tired? Or are you guys not are you guys not angry?" I mean, it's not a question that you can really answer, because the dynamics are really not the same. So you can get so angry and can only do much with the anger. But I learned from him how they dealt with their own situation, but I don't know that it can necessarily apply in my context. It's just, I guess, for educational purposes. Yeah.
If you look from both a personal perspective and maybe also the influence of your music on society at large, what are your hopes and dreams?
I think I'll go back to one of the reasons why I do the kind of music that I do. When I was young, the kind of music that I was exposed to, in Nigerian musicians, were the songs about hope, songs about patriotism, just songs that had a positive message, right? And I look around and it's kind of lost in the noise, because there's a lot of songs. I mean, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but there are a lot of songs that kids can't listen to. Like you'd be scared to, to play it to your kids or your nieces or your nephews. I want to be that voice that kids can listen to, adults can listen to, like that, a message that cuts across, basically. So it's something that I worry about sometimes. I'm like, I think that it's important that every single person can interact with music. It should never get to a point where, it's difficult for certain people, especially the younger generations, the kids, to interact with music. Because I had a great experience with music. Like, I had a great interaction with music, and I think music really shaped my life. And it would be sad if, kids can't have that experience. So it's something I would like to, embody.
And we talked a bit today about that you would like to share more life lessons. This is your chance, an opportunity, a nice platform. If there's one life lesson you'd like to share, what is it?
Wow. Oh, that's a good question. One life lesson, I think it would be one that my dad, shared with me when I was younger. And I don't know why. I don't think that at the time I felt like giving up or anything, but there were two stories, and they were from the Bible about, one was a story of lepers. There was a war situation, and the country was held in a siege, and so these lepers were on a journey towards the city that was shut down, but they were also coming from war as well. Halfway, they were going to give up because they were looking for food, they were stranded, and then there was like a lot of hopelessness. And one of them said, I think it's better that we move forward, instead of going back. Because if we go back, we die. If we move forward, we die. So why don't you just go forward? At least forward takes us forward, even though there's a risk of dying. And they went forward, and they didn't die. They found food. In fact, the people who surrounded the city heard their footsteps like chariots and thought they were going to be attacked, and they ran away left their tents and abandoned their foodstuffs. And that's what the lepers met and ate. And my dad said, and there's another story similar as well, that had a story of someone who moved forward, and there was a risk of her losing her life, but she decided to take a step, and she got what she wanted from a king, and she didn't lose her life. And my dad said, did you notice that people who said if I perish, never did? If you're trying to preserve your life and just trying to play it safe and all of that. And he was like, you should never give up. That was such a profound moment that I will never forget. So I would say, if you're caught in between a difficult, the devil and how do they say that? The devil and the deep sea or something like that, you should choose the option that moves you forward. You should choose faith. You should choose to approach, and you probably will not perish. You most likely will not.
If people want to listen to your music or follow your social medias for more life lessons that will now be abandoned from this day on, where can they find you? Where can they connect to you, with you?
So on Instagram and Twitter, I am at Cill Soul. Cill Soul is spelled CILLSOUL. I think it's the same thing on YouTube as well, because YouTube now uses at. The same thing on TikTok. I'm the same on all platforms, at Cill Soul, CILL. And you would find me as Cill, CILL, on all streaming platforms. My music, all my discography is lined up there. Start from anywhere. You will not feel like you missed out on anything.
As always, the last question. What is the power of music?
I've been thinking about the best answer for this question. So, what is the power of music? I think it is that ability to cause a change in a person without them even knowing or intending to be moved. I remember an experience I had once. I was performing at this jazz restaurant, and I remember walking in to the room for sound check, and there was this man who was just like, I don't know, I could feel he was so hostile, and I don't know why. I could feel like there was so much tension coming from him. He was just sitting down having his drink, and and when the event started, I sang a couple of songs and then ended with one song that I wrote recently. And as I sang it, I could see, like, I was watching the guy. I don't know, for some reason I was very drawn to him. I was watching him slowly just become less and less relaxed. And at first I thought it was in my head. I'm like, okay, maybe my mind is just playing with me. I'm just like singing, no big deal. And then we finished and we're packing up, my band and I. And this guy walks up to me and says, "Was that your song?" I said, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh my God, that song is so powerful. Like, what is it? I don't even know what it was about the song, but it just helped me relax." And like, I wasn't feeling okay when I came here. And I was like, I was shocked because it was something I noticed as well. Like, if it wasn't something I noticed, I probably have, just said, "Oh yeah, nice. It's nice. Thank you." But like, because I noticed it and I almost saw like the journey from him being so uptight and him relaxing. Like, it was such a powerful moment for me. I was just like, oh my God, this is so, thank you so much. Like, I was so happy. Like, it made my night, as I guess just as much as I made his night. So the ability of music to penetrate and like, just like hit you unexpectedly, like whether or not you are ready. I think that is the power of music for me.
Thank you so much, Cill.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want more information about JM or you would like to get involved, visit www.jmi.net. At JMI, we are on a mission to make the world more musical. That's why we created Mubazar, a digital platform that helps us manage all our musical activities across 80 countries worldwide, connecting musicians with opportunities to grow both personally and professionally. If you are a music professional looking for a better way to manage and promote your music activities, check out Mubazar. Created for music organizers, by music organizers, Mubazar allows you to run music competitions, workshops, camps, auditions, masterclasses, awards, events, and much more. Mubazar offers custom application forms, payments for your activities, jury tools, translations, analytics, and more. Mubazar is fast becoming the best place for musicians to find and apply for music opportunities online, and you can sign up today for a free organizer account by going to www.mubazar.com, registering, and then requesting to upgrade to an organizer on the right-hand menu. For more info, don't hesitate to get in touch via support@mubazar.com. It would mean a lot to us if you could give us 1 minute of your time and rate and review the podcast. In case you have any suggestions or would like to be one of our next guests, feel free to reach out to us through the JMI socials.